Welcome to What Ha Happened, the podcast where we talk about our latest chismes,
or gossip with you non-Spanish speaking folks,
crazy travel stories, hood memoirs, and food and wine.
This is an adult podcast,
so some of our topics may make our listeners a wee bit uncomfortable.
Listener discretion is advised.
Hi listeners, welcome back to the final part of episode 22. So sit back, grab a glass of wine or a beverage of your choice and enjoy the show.
I was like, wait. Te conozco, cabrón. Pero no sé de dónde.
Well, I think all artists share a certain kinship, right? We all
Pero
have,
te conozco, güey.
Yeah, we all have there's a certain like emotion for an artist, like, you know, to share work, to avoid, you know, like to be around other artists too, you know. It's just like sometimes it's subtle. Sometimes you might be an artist, but maybe you don't consider yourself an artist. Maybe you didn't put yourself on that kind of platform, you know. And then, like Luis's, your work. I mean, did you think you were an artist when you were taking pictures, or was it a job? And then you compile all these images, and it's just like people are using it, but you're just like putting it out there. You're just doing what you like to do, and you're just maybe enjoying it and going out there and moving from place to place. But at any time, at what point did you say, I am the artist? Or did it take somebody out? At what point did somebody say, you're the guy, this is you, like you're Luis Garza, you did this photo. Mm-hmm. You know, it's just like, when did that click?
When that person came up to me and said exactly what you just said. You're the artist.
You turned.
I had never given myself the title artist. I come to accept it slowly after a number of people came up to me to say that they referred to me as an artist. Now, I didn't argue with them. I said, that's
nice.
That's nice. I never thought of myself as an artist. But I guess I should have listened to my mother when she said, you work so hard, but you don't make no money. At that point, I should have realized I was an artist. But I didn't have the sensibilities.
Yes! Oh my God, yes.
Yes, you see? Because Mama was right.
Yes.
And Mama was telling me, pinche artista, no haces dinero para nada, cabrón.
Bro.
You see, you have to have that sense of humor.
Yes.
To balance out the moments of, you're going to the Mexican novela mode, you know. ¿Cómo tengo que sufrir? Right?
Novela.
Exactly.
Welcome to my
Que
novela.
no. I mean,
Lala
and how many times you look in the mirror and go, oh, you're so full of shit.
Yes,
You know?
exactly. Oh my God.
You're so full of caca. Get over it.
Right.
It's not about you.
Exactly. Oh my God.
You know, so at what point, I'm constantly being affirmed that I am an artist by people who come up to me to say, you are an artist. I go, all right, if you say so, okay. You know, I'm still fucking broke. You know, okay, if you say so. But the term artist to me was a responsibility.
Responsibility.
Yeah. When I think of artists, I think of who in the various fields of the arts. Well, within the photographic world, I look at a Gabriel Figueroa, whose work is just monumental, incredible photographic work. Akira Kurosawa, and his photographic work. James Wong Howe, the American cinematographer. there's any number of names within that field that I look at as artists who are masters of their craft, whose work I would look at, I would study. Because if you look at my work as I now begin to study my own work, I see that cinematic element. I see that momentary film noir element. I see that portraiture element. I see that landscape element. I begin to see things about my work that reflect the influences of those people whom I studied, and made my own interpretation of that. You condense that as a person who says, okay, this is my signature. You see, it's like I had the saying, I knew your work, but I didn't know you, but I knew of your work. By looking at your work, I know the work, but who, what's his name? So in that sense, to me, that's complimentary. And the greatest compliment is those people who have ripped me off and used my photographic work to claim it as their own. That to me is a backhanded slap. I'm saying, I'm flattered. You think that much of my work that you would use my work and claim it as your own.
Wow, how's that happen? Like,
Does
tell.
that happen?
I mean, I'm
I feel
sure
like
that's
that's happening
right
now.
Right.
That's happening to us right now.
Really?
No.
It's
Wow.
not about us. It's
Not
about
about us. It's about
Yeah. So,
The fuck? No. I literally, because well, I don't publish anything. Like I said, I'm a dancer, so but I cannot imagine you guys being ripped off for your.
I guess it's kind of like the moonwalk, right? Do the moonwalk, and then everyone's doing the moonwalk, right? Who claims it, right? It's kind of an example in dance form, right? So, right, it's like Michael Jackson, right? That's what he did on stage for the first time, but then it's like
Whoa.
everyone's doing it now.
But if you look at old movies, you'll see that Michael Jackson has co-opted dancers from before and just synthesized their movements, from Bojangles to Tintana
Yes.
to Cantinflas.
Yeah. Oh, yes. Cantinflas.
To several others, and you'll see in the old film clips, and there's someone who put a composite together of these people who are doing what Michael Jackson
Interesting,
became
yeah.
famous for.
Yeah.
But it was already being done. So Michael Jackson just synthesized it and updated it to the present. But it's been done. Okay? So it's not to belittle what Michael Jackson has done. He's just elevated and made it his own.
Made his own.
Yeah,
Made it his own.
Yes.
So it's the same thing photographically or cinematically. You study those and you make it your own. The German expressionist movement of the 30s, black and white films, incredible. The Russian films of post-revolutionary Russia, the black and whites of Sergei Eisenstein,
Potemkin.
Potemkin. Battleship Potemkin.
The works of so many other different filmmakers. The Battle of Algiers. I don't remember the name of the director, the filmmaker, but you look at the work, the collaboration between the director and the cinematographer in order to create the imagery. This is just some fabulous, incredible work.
That's what makes you so cool. I think he's a better director because he was a cinematographer. You're a cinematographer. The way he looks, you know how you take your photos? When he's looking at you, he's looking at the light bouncing off of you.
Yeah.
It's amazing
Yeah.
because I don't even see any of that. But the way you see things is completely different.
Well, I look at you right now and I see the light bouncing off of you on your forehead and I see the backlight behind you.
Honey, that
And-
forehead of yours is
And then,
We're like
fucking fabulous.
No.
we're like tortured in that sense,
Yeah.
But it's like,
well,
but
again, it's like,
Je ne sais pas.
but
Ich weiß es nicht.
it's just part of your training. It's part of how you look at life and how you look at subject matter. I mean, you turn it on, you turn it off. but it's always with you,
Right.
because it's part of you. So that camera becomes, it's Zen. It is Zen. You are one with. You're not separate from. You pick up that violin and that first
Woof.
is
Yes.
on. You pick up that fiddle,
I love the
You're on.
violin.
so it's Zen. It's that moment. You are one with at the moment that you are doing it. You're giving birth. Boom! You're on, man. You're one with.
And I saw this when I met your mother. You know,
What?
literally, no, but seriously, because she presents so much fierceness, and I see how you come about your fierceness because of your mother. Like your mother has so much presence. Like I was like, wow, this woman literally told us where to sit. Like,
Oh, yeah.
nah, you sitting right there, you sitting here, blah, blah, blah. Nah, la familia se va a sentar aquí.
Sí, sí, sí.
Okay, bueno, I'm not gonna argue. And
No,
your
no.
mother is still a beautiful woman and has so much presence, and I feel that you, like how he was talking about the presence, you have this presence because of your mother, and so
Thank you.
I just,
I will take that. She's almost 70 and looks so hot.
oh my god, she looks fucking
She's
fabulous.
I know. I was
Wait,
like, okay.
wait, she looks fabulous. I literally didn't know she was 70 until right now. Literally,
Oh,
like I was like,
She's 68
Oh.
yet.
I thought she was in her 50s, but
She's
okay.
almost 70. I know the things that we look at.
I know.
How we doing? How we doing? I'm ready for some
Ah.
tacos.
Thank you.
Tacos.
I appreciate
No,
that so
Ready
much.
for some
I
tacos.
just
Tacos.
was
I love my mother.
so.
She's always had my back.
Listen, you probably had that in like the,
Bruh,
that
It still
that
pops out of
attitude.
him. I can hear
Yeah, no,
it.
I hear it. I hear the New York in you. It's amazing because
And the way you see things.
and the way you see things. But like coming out of like when you
California,
when you left New
we
York,
don't have this. Like your mother was very like brah brah brah, and I was just like,
Gonna give you pow pow.
woof,
Gonna give you
okay,
pow,
okay, señora, sí, claro, pero porque tengo respeto, porque soy mexicana y obvio, it's Mexican culture. We have to abide by our elders because we always, for one
Es una
thing,
forma de respeto.
sí,
Yes.
exactamente.
coming out of New York, and coming into the California culture, like you talked about earlier, like parachuting into like the movement, the Chicano movement and what was going on at that time. How did your attitude from New York affect like the California? Like I'm trying to imagine the attitude, the California attitude at that time versus what I would imagine the New York attitude was. Because I've had friends from New York and they're like, that I've never on film sets, but I've never known starting out in the business, and they're like, "Go fuck yourself, man." Like but not in a bad way. It's just like, but there's a certain attitude, and it's just like they got really thick skin. You know what I'm saying? Heather's laughing, but she knows what I'm talking. You probably know what I'm talking. You know what I'm talking about.
Wait, say that again.
Go fuck yourself.
Straight up, dude.
Yeah, no, but it's just like it's kind of like an attitude of like it's
Oh my god!
Right.
You nailed it with just those words.
Sí.
but I know because I've dealt with a lot of folks from New York, and so my attitude, my response back to the guy that I just met from New York was, "Go fuck yourself too," and we had an argument. But it's as much like
And you probably bonded over that.
Yeah, and we bonded over that.
It's
just
crazy.
like we didn't get mad. We just said, "Okay, I understand. Okay, let's move on. Let's fix this and move on."
I had no connection with any New Yorkers, so yeah, this is
Right here.
not.
Right here.
But now.
No, I get nasty. Like
No,
there's
no,
like
there's
I'm in the
better.
club, but I get really ugly, and that's where like shit pops out. I'm like, oh, let me
Hey,
put
what
that.
you mean
I'm not as
ugly?
proper as like how I've been.
What you mean ugly? The capello.
But I'm-
So
I
you,
get
so
freaking-
you,
I-
so
no,
you
when I have like people take my kindness for weakness, right? Because I'll be patient, but once I get to a certain point,
Woof.
like fuck,
Oh,
I'm
so
just
you're
done.
like me.
I'm just done.
No me cruces, no me cruces.
Wow. See, o sea,
Come
Well,
on,
I mean,
man.
I just remember your story, like when you
Like-
wanted to.
I just go like that, go like this.
I will be kind. However, should you cross me, I will fucking shank you, bitch. Like, I don't know. But, okay.
I mean, what
guess-
was the California attitude back, like, you know?
He would
I mean,
not go
maybe
to
it's,
California.
like,
It
it's
would
just
be me.
How was it?
It would be me.
It was like, I know that's a loaded question, but
No, it's not a loaded question.
it's
Go fuck
just like,
yourself.
fuck. Yeah.
Chicano from New York has spoken.
Exactly.
Look, fuckface. I want to tell you something.
What are we talking about?
Yes!
You want to talk to me? You talk to me straight up, all right?
What?
Otherwise, go fuck yourself,
Yeah.
all right?
That's right.
So let's get it straight, all right?
Done.
That's it, done.
All right,
My
done.
job. I love this.
Drop the mic.
So,
I love
so
this so much.
you come from the South Bronx. New Yorkers are on the defense. Okay, there's a defensive posture because because of the intensity of New York.
Yeah.
All right, there's an electricity in New York. You're on the defensive. There are times when you can relax and you can breathe. Most times you're on the defensive because you're so compressed. All right, especially if you're living in the barrios and these are ethnic enclaves.
Yes.
It doesn't matter where you are and what part of town you are. You're compressed. You're in high-rise buildings, or you're in five-story flats, or you're inside. They're chicken cages. Okay. Everybody's on top of each other. So there's a inner turmoil within the families themselves, and then there's the outer turmoil with society in itself. And then depending on the neighborhoods, at least at that time that I lived there, you're in Italian neighborhoods, you're in Irish neighborhoods, Puerto Rican neighborhoods, black neighborhoods, you're in neighborhoods that are in clashing with each other over territory. You're all of those things that I grew up with at a young age. And so you're watching all this tension between cultures and peoples, and you're absorbing the tension from amongst them, which I think adds to my photographic experience. I think my photographic experience is also an exploration of that sense of, that side of humanity, that ability to capture that emotion by people. It comes out in my photographic work as I look at it now. And the larger body of my work will reveal that to be a truism. But coming out of New York to LA was a back and forth experience that I went through. By car, by bus, by a dozen times. I couldn't get used to living out in LA. I couldn't get used to the wide open spaces.
So I wanted to touch on something real quick before we go. Is we do have a book.
Luis, can you speak, like, on the other side of memory in your book? So the curator took those images, and did you have any say in that? Like, did you say, oh, wow, did you make any suggestions for the book?
No.
No. So you kind of like released yourself from that. Was that...
Well, it's like Lala is just saying, asking now, in terms of my photographic work is primarily people. There are some scenic work within my body of work, but for the most part it's people. I'm an urban landscaper. I can look and appreciate, as I have been looking at this photograph behind you and appreciating the composition. You see, that takes imagination. That takes positioning. that takes forethought,
Mm-hmm.
that takes creating an emotion, which is what you've done. So the pyramid is the person. The pyramid is the personality. The pyramid is the conveyor of an emotion as expressed by a civilization of people. So, knowingly or unknowingly, you are capturing the spirit of a people.
I didn't even think about it like that. I always think like, because I don't capture people, I capture sceneries and I capture the nature. Like that's what I do. I do nature.
Yes, but in capturing nature, in capturing this, let me do a little bit of what Armando Theron does to me, a little bit of interpretation from another viewpoint other than your own.
Yes, please.
Because sometimes your own viewpoint gets in the way.
Yes, it does.
Yeah.
Completely.
You have to learn how to shut yourself up, which I have to
Cala
do.
boca. Cala boca.
Cala boca.
Cala
I
boca.
have to do that
Da.
often. I have to do that often with myself.
Mm.
But what I see in that image is you capturing the spirit of a people, of a civilization. Because that monument, that construction represents a people, represents a civilization. And knowingly or unknowingly, you were capturing that and trying to interpret that. The trees that frame it are not from a secondary negative, they are part of the original image. So you positioned yourself, you walked around that body of work there, and you said, this is the best angle.
Mm-hmm.
And you sat yourself down, and you looked up, and you looked up at the spirit of that civilization, of those people who created that.
Yes.
And that's what
Right.
you are.
Well, that you can literally experience what I experienced when I was there. Whoa, how is this culture? This is my people. Well, I
Mi
am.
gente. That's what you capture here, okay? What you might have taken several other frames from different angles, but this is the one you settled upon.
Yes.
So what you are capturing is, again, that orgullo, that sense of pride, that sense of being, that sense of history, that sense of respect for.
Hands
What
from
is-
the bottom to the top.
This is you,
Mm-hmm.
okay? That is you. There's a lot of messages within that image that are conveyed looking at it, okay? The lighting, the composition, all of that. I can sense your sensitivity to the imagery and respect for that and your desire to capture all of those emotions. And that, again, is how do you do that within a frame, a single frame.
Yes.
Those are the things as a photographer that your sensitivity as a storyteller. Eres bruja.
Oh my God, did you notice?
How can I
Se
not?
te nota. Se me nota.
How can I not?
I'm sorry.
Sorry.
What do you mean?
Soy bruja.
She's a witch.
Es bruja.
She's a santera.
Bruja is griot. The African word is griot,
I'm
storyteller.
sorry. I'm sorry.
No.
No, bruja in the
If you start feeling a poke,
bruja
No,
in
because I grew up in my family, like I said, I grew up with a lot of Puerto Ricans, and
Santeria.
I did a lot of santeria.
Yeah, I know.
So
I know.
grew
That's what
up,
I'm saying.
like, but I also have, tengo el don de sueños.
Mhm.
So I have dreams of things that are gonna happen.
I know we've been going on forever.
Yeah.
And I know we've had.
I
Like,
know, sorry.
we
my
can go
bad.
on for like another 4 hours.
Right.
I think, and just I would love to share like some more wine at another point, but I'm gonna say we're gonna be at the LA Film Festival
So
coming up.
downtown,
And I'm very excited
downtown
about
LA Film
downtown
Festival.
LA. And Alessandro, can you give us some dates and some times? Can you give us the block?
Yeah.
Because-
So, Razón de Ser, Luis C. Garza documentary will be having its world premiere at the Downtown LA Film Festival at the Regal Live in downtown LA. And it will be November 4th at 5 o'clock, part of the Latinx.
Latino.
Theater
Latinx.
12
Is it Latinx?
film block.
Did they put that
It'll
in
be
the thing?
Theater 12 at the Regal LA Live, and that's 1000 West Olympic Boulevard, LA, California, 90015.
Folks, that's an LA Film
Whoa.
Festival. We have a
Yeah.
film festival.
Downtown.
It's the Los Angeles Film Festival.
We can
That's
walk
what
there
I
from
said.
our office.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, definitely.
I know.
I haven't been to your office yet, but okay. I
Well,
can
Luis,
take
we're
the
gonna see
train
you
to
there,
your
right?
office.
We're gonna see you there. We're gonna post some pictures,
Yes, I
and
hope
you
so.
know we have a book. We have a book. Heather, can you give us some information on the book, please?
Yes, so the
I
book-
mean, I want to just like kind of. I'm going to plug everything. I know it's a shameless plugging, but you know what? This is
No.
what I'm here about
No, this
because
is-
I want you guys
thank
to
you.
see this
This
book.
is what we're here for.
Please support the book.
Yes.
I've got a couple of books coming. You guys can secure your own books, and if you want, right now, I know by the time this podcast comes out, you're going to have like a couple weeks to maybe buy a book and a ticket.
you get a free ticket.
You get a
with
free
the
ticket
book
with the
right now.
book.
Yeah.
But you
Oh.
know, if not,
Oh,
and
shit,
you're
is that
hearing this
right?
podcast post, you know,
You'll have
this
links
premiere-
on the podcast.
You'll have
yeah.
links for the
Vale.
podcast for the
Please.
book,
It's called The Other Side of Memory.
The Other Side of Memory.
And you can actually buy this book at causeconnect.net if you look and see on the
And we'll
webpage.
connect you with them.
And then you'll see that you can, if you purchase a book, you can purchase the film tickets or you could purchase the book and we'll give you a film ticket. So, I mean, that's the better
Ah.
buy. And he'll be there so you can get his autograph.
Luis, is there anything you want to say to any like I don't know. It's just like you know, I want to say the most like the kind of like the cliche thing, like you have any words of wisdom for folks, artists or anything you can like impart to us. For those folks that don't know you, that will know you, that will get to know you, that you know, down the line, appreciate your work. For artists, for people like struggling, or you know, any words of wisdom here?
Which is all of us.
That's you're laying a heavy responsibility on me, you know.
You're an artist.
It's the gray hair.
Whoa.
It's the gray
Yeah,
hair.
lay it on us, bro.
Sage Luis Garza.
A ver, ¿qué cargas?
No mama's way. You know, just as a good friend, Rafa Esparza asked me after interviewing me as well, and towards the end of the interview, he said, Luis, if someone from a spaceship came down to Earth and came in front of you and asked you, how did you do everything that you've done? What words would you have for him or her or whatever that alien being was? Is how did you do what you have done? A puro huevo.
What does that mean?
¡A huevo!
¡A huevo!
¡A huevo, cabrón! ¡A huevo!
Puerto Rican, bro.
You're not Mexican! Oh my god. Okay,
It's-
a huevo means like, yeah, bitch. Yeah, bitch, we're gonna handle this shit.
What does it mean again?
The essence of it is, I do what I got to do.
Okay.
A huevo.
Oh,
I just
we
I,
have balls.
You got balls.
You got balls.
You got
Okay.
balls.
Like, a huevo.
you got
well,
will.
of course,
Do
bitch,
it.
I'ma handle this shit.
Do it.
Right.
I'ma handle it.
It's just like you gotta do it
All
without,
right,
you know.
so-
No, I'm a person. If I don't know, I'm going to tell you I don't know.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah,
gonna
yeah,
sit here
no,
and
I-
pretend like
No,
I
I mean, you know
Perfectly
what?
understandable.
This is a good
It-
thing because there's a lot of people that are gonna listen. They're gonna say like, "I don't understand it," but that's what that means. We're just gonna handle it.
Yeah.
It's
However,
it's the idiom of what we've been talking about. It's doing what you got to do and not asking permission to do it. You just do it. Whatever it is that is in front of you, you do it.
yep.
You know.
Exactly.
And looking at everything that I've done, a lot of things just came in front of me. I didn't have the experience that would have needed qualifications to do it. It's OJT, on-the-job training. I did it. I took it on.
You
It's
said
called
yes.
hard knocks.
You just
Punto.
went with it.
And it was
I just went with it.
magnificent.
All right. It's like it's like what Alessandro was saying in terms of Forrest Gump. How do you wind up?
Forrest Gump.
Yes.
How do you wind up in Russia? How do you wind up in Budapest? How do you wind up sitting across from David Alfaro Siqueiros who says, compañero, cuéntame de este movimiento chicano? Y me da un abrazo, siéntate, vamos a hablar. And we sit there and we're on the floor in a hotel room in Budapest, Hungary, drinking vodka, smoking cigarettes, and talking art and revolution. At least he is. I'm in way over my head.
Wow.
And he's giving me glasses of vodka. There was no tequila. Pero,
Obvio.
a ver, cuéntame. You see, the wonderful things that have come before me that I now have the ability to share with everyone, thanks to Heather, Alessandro, yourselves, Melissa, and all of these, this interest in my photographic work that is appearing in different documentaries. And I would tell you to watch the PBS documentary of Siqueiros, which he did a fabulous job. Omar Foglio with Digncraft out of Tijuana, who did the documentary. And they keep on time tripping me back, because that's the other thing about photography. That's the other thing about the work that we do, is that you time trip constantly. You don't get out of the past. The past is present. Past is present is future. You keep on recycling. You keep on going into it and out of it. In instant, the sounds, the smells, the sight. I'm sitting on the floor of the hotel room with Raquel Tibol, the historian, Chaparrita, Angelica Siqueiros, David Alfaro Siqueiros, and other luminaries of the Mexican left movement, and we're talking. And they're talking about Mexico and what just had happened in Mexico with Tlatelolco and the massacre of students.
Whoa.
And then the civil rights movement of
Yeah.
Chicanos here in Los Angeles.
Oh my God. Yeah.
And all of this is in front of me. And I don't have the words. I don't have the intellectual chops to match the eloquence of David Alfaro Siqueiros, who I look at como E.T., bang, me tocó. You know, pow, se me prendió el foco. You know, it's that kind of moment where I'm in the presence of genius. Esto no es juego. This ain't no fucking game. Mm-hmm. You're in it, you know, and you're with someone who you don't even know, but you know he must be somebody, and you come to find out later. I had no idea who he was.
What?
I didn't have no arts training.
You didn't know who he was?
I did not know who he was. I heard the name here and there, but you're not taught that here in American schools at that time. Those are college courses, and those are elective courses in art history that are not taught at that time in universities here in this country.
Mm-hmm.
So there's very little knowledge. And I'm photographing this man,
I didn't
and
even
those
know
photographs become iconic images that now people look at and say,
that. Yeah.
I know the photograph, but
Yeah.
I don't know the photographer.
Yes. Oh my God.
Okay?
that
But
makes
now
so
are
much
being
sense.
tapped into by all these sources that are looking at my work and having a different appreciation of my work. But the point being for me is that los dioses mandan.
Whoa.
They place me at a moment of my growing maturity, my sense of coming out of ignorance, political naivete, into a more sophisticated sense of being.
Yes.
By studying this man and what he represented in his artwork in total, allowed me to enter into a whole other world. Again, that's why I say the camera becomes my razón de ser. The camera becomes my gyroscope. The camera becomes my entree into a world that I would never have known. And it introduces me to a host of people that I would never have met otherwise.
Wow.
So working, I don't even call it working, participating. Being a part of, without consciously really truly knowing the impact and the influence and the importance of the work that I was photographing decades later. That's why I'm saying, for me, es un renacimiento. I'm 80 years old and I'm saying, man, I'm beginning to enjoy this.
No, and literally,
I wake up in the middle of the night to take a piss a half a dozen times and I say, I'm awake. I'm glad I'm awake, you know?
But when I met you, to me, like,
¿Verdad?
you are so
You have this sense of...
You are so humble.
No, mija. It has nothing to do with humble.
No, but
you haven't seen me in my diva-dom moment. Okay, because I have those moments where I'm alone and I say, let yourself be a diva.
Wow.
Let yourself be part of that Mexican novela. You know?
No, but like I said,
Now my start.
What happening?
What happened right now?
I'm getting silly.
A lot of things are happening.
All right.
So,
Well,
yeah.
I'm getting silly. But I'm trying to answer your question.
yeah. No, I know. I'm listening.
Because there's a...
And it's. I mean, I think for folks, you guys out there, this is it was a loaded question, and it certainly requires a lot more time than what we have today. But maybe we can pick it up again on another show and really get into like something else.
and
You know,
thank you so much for really coming on our show. Like, to me, it's like, wow. You and I had so many conversations, and I just thank you so much. So thank you for taking your time to
Gracias,
come.
Luis.
And I know your time. And because
Thank you, Rich.
Yeah.
Thank
You, Lala, for having us again.
I love that last part about razón de ser.
Sí,
Can we have that soundbite?
you can have anything you want.
What you
'Cause,
want?
like, I love what you said right there.
What was that?
Yeah.
I don't know, man. I was there. All I know is I felt it. Whatever you said, I felt that.
Yeah.
And that
So,
kind of described what, right?
encapsulates everything.
Yeah,
The
exactly.
essence of it all.
We've been looking for that, right?
Wait, they've been looking for that, and you said on the podcast. But it's about the question.
It's recorded.
No,
so
but-
we-
Wait, that copyright
Well,
thing?
look,
or-
I know. I was like, hey, can we use that?
Wait a minute.
Yeah.
What it comes down to, and what Heather is saying, is very important, because the work that was captured, the work and the interest in the work that I had produced, gave me a self-reflecting moment. I'm looking in the pool of self-reflection, and I'm saying to myself, I've got a body of history, a body of work captured. What does it mean? What is this interest now that is developing more so than ever before? I mean, because my work has sporadically, sprinkled through time. But now it's become more concentrated, more condensed, more compressed in terms of interest. What is this? What have I done that caused this? So, looking at the work that has been produced caused me to start giving greater reflection and appreciation of what it is that I have done, what I have captured, the journey, the path that I have been on. I've never really thought about it until now, consciously, truly consciously. And so the conversation, Razón de Ser, comes out of this project. You know, what gives rise to it? Well, that camera becomes my weapon, my sword, my pen, my Razón de Ser, which is what is elicited out of the Q&A that is presented me. So it makes me focus in a manner that I had never focused on myself in terms of interpreting and justifying my existence. I am blessed because I have now created a legacy. I may pass away tomorrow, but I have a legacy that I leave behind. I leave not behind only ashes or a body entombed, but I leave behind a conscientious effort of work and a body of history that people will look at and explore and see me as a contributor to an understanding of our humanity.
Yes! Oh my God. You have seriously, well,
That's how I begin to look at my work now. I have, again, that sense of man, I want to live another 10, 20 years, man.
I want you to live.
I want you.
I'm enjoying myself.
yeah!
I'm like James Brown. I feel good.
I'm so
Yeah.
happy to hear that.
I want to share some more wine with you.
Yeah,
Good.
I feel good. Da, 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 da.
That's
You know,
I knew that I would.
This is
salud.
Salud por
salud
Luis.
para todos, para
Salud
todos.
para
todos.
todos.
Para la linda vida.
Salud.
La linda
A la vida.
para la vida.
Gracias a
I'm
la
not
vida.
drinking.
Okay.
Es mejor, es mejor,
Wine,
es mejor.
but whatever.
Okay.
But it's that. It's
Mm.
not to get syrupy or,
Yeah.
It's good.
weepy-eyed.
I'm kind of, I'm, you know what? I'm glad to weep. I can weep because if we don't, when do you? You know,
Well-
it's just like there's good sentiments and bad sentiments, but it's just like I'm here now. I say things to people like I'm here until I'm not.
Yes!
Well,
You
exactly.
always tell me
Exactly.
things.
And
Yeah.
Right.
the greatest compliment is that you leave behind a legacy of the work that you do. You see, that recorded history is important. It adds to the archive.
Yeah.
It adds to the archive. It's like when people, before you ask in regards to the exhibition, it's like when Heather and Alessandro and I met for the first time at Riverside. And there were people who were looking at the imagery and they were becoming emotional. I'm the perennial fly on the wall. I sit back and I look at people and I listen to their reactions. And there are those who, it evokes an emotion.
Yeah.
And that's the beautiful thing about the curatorial work, because the curatorial work has a purpose in evoking the emotions. And that's what I say in the piece, is that Armando Durón skillfully selected those 66 images to evoke a cross-section of emotions, and he achieved that.
May I ask a question?
Yes, sir.
Those 66 images, are we going to see a tour around the country? Is this planned tour?
Melissa's touring it. It's in storage right now. She's lining up other museums and exhibition spaces.
Yeah, I would. Yeah. So we, folks, we're gonna definitely plug that. But I would love to see that. I mean, I've got the book coming, but
That was
November 13th, 2022
That was
is
the
when we
beginning
met
right
you.
there.
Yeah. Well, see,
That
the
was
other
the
thing
beginning.
that's happening is that we are in conversation. It's very early stage right now of a much expanded overview of my work. That's another part of what it is that we're doing in terms of generating the support.
You know, may I, if I may, I have another friend who's a photographer, and we've always talked about like doing something and, you know, doing just documenting his photos. But I said, and then he always talked about like the people that he was documenting, and I said, no, that's not the most important thing. The most important thing for me in documenting your photos is your story and what you were documenting, your experience in what you were documenting. Because I don't want to, I can understand that, but what was the situation? And tell me the story of that situation.
It's the backstory.
The backstory.
Yeah.
Okay,
That's,
now.
to me,
Yeah.
I want to, like, that's, for me, that's what I want to know.
All right, well, here...
So, I mean, I know this is getting long, guys.
It's a school night. This is a school night.
No, let me just go to the bathroom.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, Louis. I mean,
No,
like I said,
I love it.
I can do this for like hours on
I'm
end.
so sorry. Yeah, but I also agree with you because I feel that I just got into the photography situation, and my visions are different than most people, you know. And anyway,
you're dealing with the backstory. The backstory is what generated the interest in the photographic work. Siqueiros does not come about in a vacuum. The story behind Siqueiros, who becomes a mentor and inspires me, is that when I first showed these photographs to a few people, because they had never been seen before, Rich Eduardo in particular, who is the Andy Warhol of the West Coast, who's passed away, sadly enough, he says, let's blow it up. And Melissa and I go on to create an exhibition on the influence and the impact of David Alfaro Siqueiros and America Tropical. But the backstory to the photographs comes from people who ask, where did you take these photographs? And I said, Budapest, Hungary. When? 1971. How did you get to Budapest, Hungary? I was working with La RAZA magazine, and there was an American delegation that traveled to Budapest, Hungary, and through the Soviet Union. And what? Backstory. So how did you wind up, and how did you... So that photograph becomes an iconic photograph that is now tapped into by so many different sources, that is now the lead photograph for the PBS documentary on David Alfaro Siqueiros that is now streaming on air. Right? So people are looking at that image and making the connection. Who took this image?
We'll post that image.
Which is part of what Alessandro and Heather have captured so eloquently within the documentary. So that backstory now becomes front story. So again, you get deeper and deeper and deeper into it. So you get into the historical narrative. Then you get into, well, who the fuck is David Alfaro Siqueiros? What is his impact? How does the mural movement begin to take place? How do all of these threads begin to unravel from that singular photograph? The power of one singular image that conveys all of these emotions and all of this interest. That's the power of an image that now translates into a whole other appreciation of the Chicano mural art movement, and subsequently a whole international movement that starts here in Los Angeles, begun by Chicano muralists during the 60s and 70s. So it all begins to circulate around. And so people start beginning to dig into that history and begin to find a wider story based on one photographic image.
And that's amazing. But that's a beautiful thing as well.
You see,
it's something that you got to be very respectful with. The photographs, it captures everything. It speaks volumes with an image. You capture emotion.
The Jamaicans say that when you take a picture, you're taking part of their soul. You're taking a picture of their soul.
well, you see, this is the task before us. This is the group effort that we are going through here. This is the group think, the group share, the conduit between us in terms of the storytelling ability as we begin to polish each other and we begin to polish elements of a story that gets wider and wider and wider. And it brings in Rich Eduardo. It brings in a host of people that nobody knows.
We will know.
But we will
We
know.
will know.
But you see, that's the point of what it is that we're doing. Because what we are doing is a centrifugal motion. It's like the Texas tornado. You see, you begin to generate it. And the demographics of who we are and what we represent becomes greater and greater and greater. And so there's no denying, it's an every now and then thing. On the contrary, what we're doing is making it an everyday thing.
Yeah.
You see, that is what is happening. And that is what's scaring the hell out of so many people within this country that would object to who we are and what we represent.
Why would they object?
Because we're a sleeping giant, as they would say.
No, there's no sleeping giant.
No sleep. We're just.
Why would they object?
We just gotta work
We're
together.
nice people.
Well,
We're awake. We're awake.
We're
We're
not
awake. We're aware.
It's just like, yeah.
We're generating.
No,
We're generating.
I am just
This is
happy
proof.
I just want to say thank you. Thank you so much, you guys, and
Thank you for having us.
I really appreciate that
We had
you
a
guys.
good time.
That you guys
Yeah.
no, but that you guys take the time to come and share this with us.
You know,
This
Luis
is
Garza,
yes.
Heather Flores.
Thank you so
Alessandro
much.
Fuentes.
Literally,
Thank
you
you for having us.
guys,
Thank you for
you
having
us.
guys
Thank you.
have made
Thank you.
like seriously. Thank you so much for coming onto our show and making it a better show.
Well, you know. Once again, I'm gonna plug the film Razón de Ser at the LA Film Festival coming up in November
4th.
and November 4th to be specific.
5 p.m.
And we 5 p.m.
Theater
Heather.
12.
At the Real Life.
To be specific.
To be specific.
See you at the red
All
carpet.
right, ready? Let's see if we can get this other one. And the book, Heather, the name of the book,
The Other Side of Memory.
and where can you get it?
CauseConnect.net.
All right. And, Luis, can you give us some words of love and wisdom and say, like, we're signing off, but this is what happened. And we had Luis Garza on, and Luis?
Como siempre, adelante con el arte.
Thank you for following us on this journey. Hope you enjoyed it.
To follow us, you can go to whathahappened.com for a link to all of our social media and to read our bios.
If you would like us to read your story,
May it be funny or scary or just some hot chisme.
please email us at stories@whathahappened.com.